Welcome. I cannot deny that I am disappointed in the recent losing streak of my Philadelphia Eagles. I think we have a better team than the Dallas Cowboys. I think we have more talent and depth than the Chicago Bears, but that does not matter when the game is played and we end up on the wrong side of the final score. I think an important aspect is to look at the situation rationally, and by all means keep everything in perspective. There are clearly too many fans who are diving off the deep end and fearing the worst. Some of that is just typical reactions from fans in the Northeast. But some are taking it beyond, and those fans who egged the house of our offensive coordinator, they went too far and disgraced their families and community. Let us talk about the game. The Eagles played badly on both sides of the ball, as the Bears were able to move through our defense like a hot knife through room temperature butter for the first quarter. Then they improved for a while, but the offense simply looked dreadful from the start and finished with some positive moments in between. The players are not executing plays as well as they were last year, and the luck we had in the past with health has come full circle the other direction. Also, the fact that we are facing everyone's best game plan and our opponents are clearly more emotionally invested than we seem to be. That is part of the problem that we must stop first and foremost. Success can breed complacency. Some feel like they can simply turn it on and off until they realize that they cannot. This is not exclusive to professional athletes, but to anyone in life. People tend to celebrate highs too much and sulk over lows all too often. The reality is that if we want to continually succeed at something, you need to be even-keeled and learn from both the good moments and bad moments. Jalen Hurts used to speak about rent needing to be paid each and every day of the football season. And to some degree there must be missed payments in a sense that there seems to be some gaps in keeping up with how opponents will play them and what the next phase is. And that is difficult when you lose key members of the team. The Eagles lost key players and our offensive coordinator who revived our offense. We needed to adapt and we have not really done that well enough. My problem is not that we are trying to be a running team. At our best, we have always been led by the run game, complemented with a capable pass game. For some reason, we have allowed our offense to become predictable in a manner where we seem to play into our opponent's hands. Our ability to dictate pace of play, march down the field with chunk plays over long drives, and pressure teams to have to exploit their fleeting opportunities is no longer happening. We are not sustaining drives and struggle to put effective plays back to back. At our best, we did not force targets to receivers, rather the open person got the ball. We are missing too many open receivers and the routes are not creative enough to generate separation consistently. We rerun too many of the same concepts without any alterations, and we cannot block as consistently with our line that has injuries all across it. It is easy to point to one person, but we cannot ignore that there have been moments of greatness that we need to build off of. We cannot try to compare our past to the present because it is a low-hanging fruit. If making one change is the right approach, then I am sure they would have made it already. But there is a reality that maybe we do not have alternatives in the building. In 2023, the thing that pundits pointed out was largely play design, with every receiver seeming to scheme to go deep without any underneath options, which led defenses to zero blitzes us repeatedly and often. Seems like there are issues with play design, but ones that can be overcome by execution and identifying the open options sooner. Maybe the combination of coaching and player focus on ball security is creating a risk-averse environment where any risk is avoided even if it is necessary to succeed. Now, we do not want a risk-preferred offense where the ball is thrown recklessly, but we hope to see an approach where the team is able to create calculated risk where the payoff outweighs the downside. I hope that we can find ways to give Jalen multiple options, maybe one to push the ball down the field and a secondary option to find someone else in space, if the main target is covered. Like when you see the Chiefs, the Rams, or the Niners play, where routes create space for others. During the times that we have done that effectively, it has yielded great results. I am not sure how much can reasonably be changed during the season. That is a reality we might need to accept. Players are not likely to get fully healthy, and the skills lost in free agency are not going to be regained in season. The players and coaches have to find a path forward, be able to hold the leads they are gaining. Everything is still in front of us.
Let us look at the big picture. Our Eagles still have opportunities going forward. While it feels like all hope is lost, there is time to overcome this slide. And the rest of the conference is not running away from us. Following our loss to Dallas, the casual fans all jumped ship and anointed the Los Angeles Rams the new favorites to win the Super Bowl. And what did the Rams do with this new notoriety? They lost to the Carolina Panthers. There is no clear favorite on their side of the league. The Chicago Bears are hot right now. But I do not think that they are not beatable. On the road or in Chicago. The Packers are still inconsistent and playing just as questionable on offense as well. The Lions are keeping afloat as well. The conference is very much still in play for many teams. For the Eagles. For the Packers. For the Rams. For the Lions. Even for the Bears. Not a slight, but they were probably not planning on being in contention this season. So it is important that teams do not lose perspective over what is still possible. Does anyone really recall that we lost to the Atlanta Falcons in Week 2 last season? Or that we were dominated by the Tampa Bay Bucks in Week 4? The important thing is for teams, their players, and coaches to find a way to not dwell on the negatives. Very rarely will people in any walk of life get to the top of their field without any adversity. At some point, you will have to deal with negatives and find a way to overcome them. To be completely fair, there are some markets that afford their teams more space to find their way out of a funk. And markets like Philly or New York that are pressure cookers with local media that generate narratives that are not completely based on facts, but riding the emotions of the fringe of their audiences. That is why you see lunatics egging houses or sending threats to coaches, players, and their families, which is completely inappropriate. Instead of elevating conversations, these talking heads simply fuel anger for ratings, clicks, and notoriety. I think it is fair to express your frustration or disappointment in the performance of your team. But, you should keep in mind that these players and coaches are trying to win. I doubt any of them would put themselves through all the trials and tribulations to purposefully fail. That is not realistic.
Obviously, I agree that not all is lost. It is not over. We are not dead. There is still life in this team and this season. So let us not lose our collective minds and realize that sports are important but not the end of the world. So, let us look forward to next week. First, the battle for the AFC North between the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Baltimore Ravens. Both lost last week. Both are 500 teams. Still, I think Steelers-Ravens is always going to be a great game to watch. The Ravens are a shell of their past selves, but the Steelers are a shell of what they were earlier in the year, and their quarterback is dealing with an injury. In Baltimore, I think the Ravens have an advantage in this game. Everyone thinks they will win the division. If this is to come to fruition, then they will do themselves a major service by winning the first head-to-head matchup with their division rival and get an edge for the remainder of the season. Another division showdown is taking place in Jacksonville when the Indianapolis Colts face the Jaguars, with both teams 8-4. The Colts were at one point a clear leader in the conference, but have fallen back to third. Like my Eagles. While the Colts have been playing great at times this season and are favored in this game, the Jags have won some key games. They beat the Chiefs to end their winning streak. On the other hand, the Colts have only prevailed in one of the big matchups against the Broncos, in large part because of a penalty. The Colts seem like they may need this one to show they can win an important game. But, I think the Jaguars might be able to continue their strong play. I will take the Jaguars at home, despite the Colts probably having a better roster. The Packers have the opportunity to put themselves back where many people saw them at the beginning of the season, and that is on top of their division. In Green Bay, the Packers face the Chicago Bears, who have spent the last two games beating Pennsylvania. There was a time when you saw this matchup and would automatically pick the Packers, because Aaron Rodgers beat the Bears consistently. That is what he did. Brett Favre had his way with the Bears. The Packers usually beat the Bears. In this game, it does not appear like it will be another game with the same result. The Bears are a better team than they were last year. The Eagles were a 7-point favorite and lost at home to these Bears, but I think the Packers will raise their play to prevail in this matchup. I will take the Packers. The Kansas City Chiefs take on the resurgent Houston Texans with a strong defense that has led them to victories over the Bills and Colts. Can Stroud and his Texans go into Arrowhead and continue against the reigning, defending, 3-time AFC champion Kansas City Chiefs? Probably. They definitely are playing well enough to compete with anyone right now. And the Chiefs are having their own down year, despite having their roster completely back. They are beatable for the first time in a very long time, and the Texans can put them back under 500. I will take the Texans in this matchup. The Chiefs could win, but the Texans have the opportunity to make ground in their division with a win. They may find themselves close to the top when they spend the first quarter of the season at the bottom of the conference. I will pick the Texans. So, my picks this week are the Ravens, Jaguars, Texans, Packers, and I will pick my Eagles to bounce back against the Chargers. The AFC has two clear frontrunners, the New England Patriots and the Denver Broncos. Both are playing well and are on long winning streaks right now. But, still, both could reasonably suffer a defeat in the playoffs depending on the matchups. But there is far less parity than the NFC. Still, most football fans still have a reason to watch and should continue to support their teams and hold players and coaches accountable in appropriate manners. A big thank you to all of you in the audience. Your viewership is appreciated and valued. Please like and subscribe to experience new content every Sunday here. Or experience the Christopher Peter Review by visiting www.crcreview.com. Thank you once again. Until next time.